Do y'all ever just crave comfort food? I know I do. And today's recipe for cheesy shells and beef is just one of those really comforting dishes that I so enjoyed when I was growing up, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. Hey y'all, I'm Kareth. Welcome to the Freeze Dried Foodie. This recipe right here takes me straight back to 7th grade. We were living in Louisiana. We would come home from school exhausted in the afternoons, and my mom, who was a teacher at our school, would somehow crank out a fantastic meal every night, even though I'm sure she was completely exhausted herself. So this recipe is kind of based on what she used to feed us. Now, for the meal in a jar version I'm going to show you today, what I've done is I have taken my recipe for deluxe mac and cheese, and I've used that as a base, and I'm adding to that our beef and our tomato sauce and onions and some really yummy seasonings. So let me show you how I put it together. I'm starting with a 24-ounce jar. That's a 3-cup jar, because I'm going to do 3 servings of this. Now, if you don't have a 24-ounce jar, just use a quart jar, and you'll have some room at the top for some extra veggies, because I think it would be great with some zucchini, some tomatoes, or mushrooms, whatever you want to add. Into my jar, I've already put a 1.5 cups of the shells pasta, and to that pasta, I'm just going to add a bunch of powdered things, and the powders will settle down into the spaces. So I've got some instant milk, as well as some butter, sour cream, and heavy cream powder. And all of those powders are going to make a fantastic cheese sauce for our dish. And to that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of the Thrive Life cheese sauce, as well as some cream cheese powder that I got from Amazon. I use the Judee's brand. I'm using both kinds of onions, both the chopped and the green onions. I know right now Thrive Life is out of stock of the green onions, so if you don't have those, you can just use all chopped onions. And then here goes the ground beef. I always pulse it in the blender, a lot better texture in the dish. There is the Thrive Life tomato sauce, as well as the Thrive beef bouillon. Our beef bouillon is so tasty. It's not too salty, but it is full of flavor. I really like it. All right, I'm going to add to this lots of yummy seasonings. I put dry mustard in just about everything I put cheddar in. The Trinity Shake is literally just onions, celery, and bell pepper that's been powdered. The paprika, the garlic powder, those are both going to add some yumminess. The optional chili powder and cumin, I added in mine. It gives it a little bit of a taco flair. And then we've got salt, pepper, cayenne, and nutmeg. Nutmeg might sound a little bit interesting, but it pairs really well with the cream. I'm having a hard time fitting everything in my jar, so I gave it another shake to settle it down. And I patted it with the back of that measuring cup. I still need to put all of my cheese in here, so I've got cheddar and parmesan to add. I do suggest you blend that cheddar. It melts really smoothly if you blend it. And then, yeah, that's parmesan. I'm trying to fit in there. It probably would have fit better into a quart-sized jar. But I got it in there eventually. All right, so this is what you could store on your shelf. And if you do make this in a quart-sized jar, you can fit some extra veggies in here, which would be great in your dish. When you're ready to prepare this, just go ahead and get out a large skillet. And then it's a really simple dump and go recipe. It's a just add water recipe. You'll just empty the contents of your jar into your skillet, and then to that you're going to add water. I started with 3 cups of water, and later I added about another half cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup. Depends on the kind of pasta you use. It kind of depends on a lot of different factors as to how much water you add and how long you cook. So start with 3 cups, see how it goes, but don't be afraid to adjust. Bring that to a simmer over medium heat. You want to bring it to a boil, but not higher than medium heat because you don't want your cheese or your cream to break. So medium heat, let it come to a boil, then simmer it for about 15 minutes, and you can tell how thick it gets. You'll definitely want to stir from the bottom. Every 3 or 4 minutes, give it a really good stir from the bottom because the cheese and the pasta, they're going to want to stick. Here's where I added some additional water because, the pasta just was not tender. I tested it after about probably 12 minutes of simmering, and I could tell it would need more water and more time. So I went ahead and added an additional probably half cup, 3/4 of a cup of water, stirred it, let it continue to simmer over medium heat for another probably 5 minutes, and then I tasted and it was perfect. The pasta was tender. The flavor was on point. I loved it. I didn't add anything. I thought it was great. Now, my mom always added a little bit of extra grated cheese to the top of hers and let that melt. And so I thought that would be good today. Of course, you could use freeze-dried cheese that you have refreshed here if you prefer. I covered it and I moved it off of the heat source so that the pasta on the bottom wouldn't stick. And I let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes and let that cheese melt. The sauce will thicken as it stands. It's ready to serve up. It's nice and thick. The cheese is beautifully melted. That right there is just comfort in a bowl. It's super yummy. If you include the chili powder and the cumin in there, it'll have a little bit of that taco flavor, and it's so good. I highly recommend that if you like taco flavor. If not, it's good without it. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, there we have it. Our cheesy shells and beef. Y'all, that's so good. And I wanted to tell you there are options you can do. You can swap out the proteins and the vegetables in this. So with this one, I have the beef and the onions, and like I said, you could add zucchini and tomatoes. You could swap out the protein if you would like to and try it with our sausage crumbles and then add bell peppers. Or you could do our diced chicken and add our broccoli. All of those would be delicious. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. As always, I will include the full recipe and my shopping link in the description box below. I'll try to keep y'all updated as far as the progress on my cookbook. I am working on it diligently, but there's only one of me and there's lots of details to work out. It's just a busy season for our family with my daughter about to graduate as well. So anyway, thank you for your patience. I appreciate y'all always. All right. God bless you. And until next time, y'all take care and keep thriving.